Fitin10 Nation, it is day 23. It is day 23, right? Day 23, macros have been sent. And for those of you who, again, weren't happy with your results from your scan, hang in there. Trust me, this is a process and you will get there, okay? Just hang in there and have faith, okay? I know it's easier said than done, but I've been through this many times, and I know how this thing goes. So, okay, hang in there, stay positive, as I'm sure you are, and just stick to the plan and keep going, okay? All right, a few key reminders. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm going to keep reminding it. MyFitnessPal. So let's go over some basics here. Make sure you look at your macros daily. All right, and also make sure when you enter a food that the macros sort of, I say sort of because you don't know exactly, are reasonable for what you're putting in. Okay, so let's go with an example here. Let's say you're using, 30 grams of avocado. Okay, in 30 grams of avocado, how much fat is there? Oh, I don't know off the top of my head, but there's probably somewhere around 7-8 grams of fat. Okay, if you put 30 grams of avocado in there and you see like 50 grams of fat or something like that, right? Something where you can look at that and be like, well, right away you're going to know the calories are off the charts, the fat's really high, but the serving's really small. Doesn't make sense. I'm not saying you're going to know for sure, but just make sure you look. Okay. And a perfect example was the ribeye steak that I gave yesterday, where no macros were listed, but nearly 900 calories were listed. So the 900 calories got added in to the person's food, but their macros, no change in the macros. Okay, so it was a bogus entry for that food. Okay, obviously, if there's 900 calories, so let's just say it was 900 calories. If there's 900 calories there has to be macros making up that 900 calories. Okay, so in the case of a ribeye steak, it's going to be fat and protein, obviously. A ribeye steak is pretty fatty, so there's going to be a lot of fat. Pay attention to verified foods, right? Try to use the food entries that have the green box beside them. That way you know. And also, pay attention to the serving size and the serving amounts, right? So there's a serving size and there's a number of servings. So if we go back to like my example of avocado, 30 grams, let's say the serving amount is 30 grams and you had, let's just say 90 grams. You've got to go with 3 servings of that, correct? Not 1 serving. That wouldn't reflect it. Okay? Just make sure you pay attention to those things. Finally, I want to remind you to be as consistent as possible with this day in and day out. A lot of you, I see some fluctuations. Now, as of recently, don't see that as much when I look at your journals, but of course when I go back, and of course that was more in the beginning, so it's a little bit more expected. The consistency aspect is so important, right? It's easier to help yourself, or it's easier for me to help you, when I know and see exactly what you're doing. But if you're all over the place, it's really hard to make a good decision on where to go next, okay? By the way, some of your macros, some of you I adjusted a bit more aggressively than others. So if you see a reasonably aggressive change to your, and overall it's not that aggressive, but in the world of Fitin10, it's pretty aggressive. If you see a more aggressive change than, say, your friend that's in the challenge, that's done on purpose, okay? And some of you, I actually sent out a second macro email because I meant to make an adjustment to you, a further adjustment than what I did, okay? Feedback, you got to send me your feedback. www.trainonmain.com/Fitin10 check-in. Send me your feedback today, okay? Speaking of feedback, let's get to some of that because I haven't touched upon that in quite some time. So, where are you? All right, so. All right, let's name something specific you need help with. Bulgarians. Found them to be very hard. Had to drop my weights. Okay. So sometimes I suggest weights for you, and I may not be right. I mean, I'm making a broad suggestion here. So based on what you've used before and how hard it was and how many reps you've got, you achieved last time you did them, make a reasonable estimation on what you can use. If you need help, let me know. For some of you, it's just going to be body weight, okay? Because Bulgarians are really hard movement. Still having trouble doing lunges. I need to stop. I need to not step out as far, okay? Yeah, you want to, on your walking lunges or even your split squats, that type of thing, you want to be about 90 degrees at the knee, at the bottom portion of it, okay? At least the way I want you to do it. Okay, there is not a one correct way of doing this, but the way I'd like you to do it is to be about 90 degrees at the knee, the bottom of the motion. On the forward leg, that is, of course. Close grip bench press. Found it hard to keep my elbows by my side. Arms were shaking on the last set. Yeah, okay. You're not used to it. You've been doing more regular style bench press. The elbows are out. On the close grip bench press, we're keeping the elbows nice and in, tucked in. And of course, keeping those lats engaged, right? We're packing the shoulders back, keeping the lats engaged, keeping those lats tight. Better shoulder stability. You'll feel a little bit stronger that way. Okay, great question here. Is there any, I was building that up really good, and then I messed up my English. Is there any truth to not eating past 8 p.m. and also about not eating carbs at night? If you're breaking up all your meals into even macro amounts, how could you even possibly do the previous unless they are talking about certain types of carbs? So the question is there any truth to not eating past 8 p.m. and also about not eating carbs at night? Is there any truth to what? What is the truth? What is the truth that there's, what is the statement? I think what you're saying is that, is it better to not eat past 8 p.m. at night? I think what you're asking me is, if you eat past 8 p.m. at night, is there more likelihood that you're going to put on body fat? Okay, so I think what you're asking me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, what you're asking me is there any truth to if you eat earlier in the day, you'll put on less body fat? If you eat later in the day, you put on more body fat, or something like that, right? If you eat later at night, especially carbohydrates, will you put on more fat than if you ate those same carbohydrates, so you ate the same amount for the day, but you ate them earlier in the day? That's your question, correct? Okay, so the short answer on this is that it's not true. It's not true. I used to think it was true. I avoided carbs at night, okay? Now, there is, when we're trying to get that 1%, especially as a competitive bodybuilder, we do put a little more carbohydrates around the training time. Typically speaking. Not everybody does this, but typically speaking, that's what we do. Okay, and this is just for, keeping cortisol levels down and trying to get as much energy in around the training to facilitate the training so we can train as hard as we can. In terms of fat loss, no, there's no difference. Oh, my computer's running low. Hopefully it doesn't die. In terms of losing body fat, no. Don't focus on these little minute things that really make no difference at all, okay? So, don't worry about this. I would encourage you to eat some carbs at night. It will help you to sleep better, okay? Just, you just may not sleep well if you're eating a boatload of food before you go to bed, because you're going to go to bed on a full stomach and you're probably not going to feel good. All right, so there is no truth to that. All right, I'm at 9.5 minutes here. Let me just make sure I answered everything. If you're breaking up your meals into even macros amounts, how could you even possibly? Yes, okay. Right, exactly. Okay, so don't worry about eating later at night. Don't worry about that. You're not going to get fat. Feeling full does not mean you're getting fat. Okay, so if you go to bed, the idea of going to bed and not moving and you ate late at night, if that's going to be an issue in terms of adding more fat, no, it's not. It's about total calories, and let's be more specific here, about the total macros, should make up your calories, of course, for the day. That's what matters. Where you time them doesn't make that much of a difference, okay? When we're talking about elite athletes here, it can make some difference with muscle mass gain, etc., etc. But when it comes to fat loss, overall fat loss, don't worry about this. Do not worry about this, okay? Do not worry about this. All right, message of the day. Okay, let's go off here on a different kind of note. Here are 5 things that require zero talent, because you may believe that this challenge is going to be more suited towards those who are, quote, more talented or metabolically gifted. And I'm here to remind you that there are 5 things that require zero talent. Following a system, okay, organization, just being organized, effort, preparation, being prepared, and a positive attitude, okay? 5 things, and all these things can help you to do better in whatever, faculty you're working towards, right? Whatever you're working on, okay? So I'll say it again. 5 things that require zero talent: following a system, organization, effort, being prepared, and a positive attitude. On that note, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude. I'll talk to you guys all very soon. Stay positive, keep going. I believe in you, believe in yourself. You will do better. Trust me. Stick to the system. Talk to you soon.